You know what breaks my heart? It's when I see someone smile and say, "I'm fine," when their eyes are screaming for help. When they tell everyone around them that everything is okay, but inside, they're falling apart. Maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're the one who puts on that brave face every single day, who answers "I'm good, thanks" when someone asks how you're doing, even though your soul is crying out in pain. Let me tell you something today that you need to hear, something that might make you cry, but will also bring you comfort. God sees you. He sees past that smile you force on your face. He sees through those words you say to keep people from worrying. He knows. He has always known. And while the world might believe your "I'm fine," God sits beside you in your pain, waiting for you to stop pretending and fall into His arms. Why do we do this? Why do we hide our pain like it's something to be ashamed of? Maybe it's because we've been told to be strong. Maybe it's because we don't want to be a burden to anyone. Maybe we've tried to open up before and people didn't understand, so we learned to keep it all inside. Maybe we're afraid that if we admit how much we're hurting, everything will fall apart. So we smile. We say we're fine. We keep moving forward like soldiers in a war nobody else can see. But here's what I want you to understand today. Your pain is not a weakness. Your struggle is not something to hide. And the fact that you're barely holding on doesn't make you less of a believer, less of a person, or less worthy of love. It makes you human. It makes you real. And God doesn't need you to pretend with Him. He never has. Think about this for a moment. How many nights have you cried yourself to sleep, making sure nobody heard you? How many times have you locked yourself in the bathroom or in your car just to let the tears fall where no one could see? How many mornings have you woken up exhausted, not from lack of sleep, but from carrying a weight that's crushing your spirit? And then you get up, wash your face, and put that mask back on. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But you're not fine. And that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to admit that life has been too heavy lately. It's okay to say that you're tired of being strong, tired of pretending, tired of holding it all together when everything inside you feels like it's breaking into a million pieces. God is not fooled by your words. He's not convinced by your smile. He sees the tears you hide. He hears the prayers you can't even put into words. He feels every ache in your heart, every moment of loneliness, every second of despair. And He doesn't love you less because you're struggling. He loves you more. He draws closer. He wraps His presence around you even when you can't feel it. You see, people can only see what you show them. They see your face, they hear your words, and if you tell them you're fine, most of them will believe you and move on. They have their own lives, their own problems, their own pain to deal with. And that's not their fault. That's just how life works. But God sees what nobody else can see. He sees the battle you're fighting in silence. He sees how hard you're trying to keep it together. He sees how much strength it takes just to get through each day. There's a beautiful truth in the Psalms that says God keeps track of all our sorrows. He collects our tears in a bottle. He records each one. That means your pain matters to Him. Your tears are precious to Him. Every moment of suffering you've endured in silence, He was there. Every time you felt alone, He was beside you. Every time you wondered if anyone cared, He cared. He has always cared. Maybe you've been carrying something so heavy that you don't even know how to talk about it anymore. Maybe it's grief that won't let go. Maybe it's a betrayal that cuts so deep you can't find the words. Maybe it's disappointment that has settled into your bones. Maybe it's fear that keeps you awake at night. Maybe it's a diagnosis you haven't told anyone about. Maybe it's a broken relationship you're still mourning. Maybe it's financial stress that's eating away at your peace. Maybe it's just the weight of life itself, pressing down on you day after day until you feel like you can't breathe. Whatever it is, wherever you are in your pain right now, I want you to know that you don't have to carry it alone anymore. You don't have to keep saying you're fine when you're not. You don't have to keep pretending for God. He already knows. And He's not disappointed in you. He's not angry with you. He's not waiting for you to get it together before he shows up. He's already there, in the middle of your mess, in the middle of your pain, waiting for you to let him in. If this message is touching your heart right now, if you're realizing that you've been hiding your pain for too long, would you do something for me? Subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video. Not for me, but so that this message can reach someone else who needs to hear it today. Someone else who's been saying, "I'm fine," when they're breaking inside. Someone else who needs to know that God sees them. Your simple click could change someone's life today. The truth is, when we hide our pain, we rob ourselves of the comfort God wants to give us. We rob ourselves of the healing He has ready for us. We rob ourselves of the peace that comes from being honest about where we really are. God can't heal what you won't reveal. He won't force His way into the places you keep locked. He waits for you to open the door, to stop pretending, to come to Him just as you are, broken and hurting and barely holding on. And here's what's so beautiful about God. He doesn't need you to have it all figured out. He doesn't need you to clean yourself up first. He doesn't need you to stop crying, or to find the right words, or to feel strong enough. He just needs you to be real with Him. To stop saying, "I'm fine," and start saying, "I'm hurting. I need you. I can't do this alone anymore." That's where healing begins. Not in pretending. Not in hiding. Not in putting on a brave face. But in honesty. In vulnerability. In admitting that you're not okay and you need help. That's when God can truly work in your life. That's when His strength becomes your strength. That's when His peace begins to fill the empty places in your soul. You might be wondering why God hasn't fixed your situation yet if He really sees your pain. Why hasn't He taken away what's hurting you? Why hasn't He changed your circumstances? And I don't have all the answers to that. But what I do know is this. God's presence in your pain is more powerful than the absence of pain itself. His companionship in your valley is more valuable than a quick escape from it. Because in those deep, dark places where you feel most alone, that's where you discover who God really is. That's where your faith becomes real, not just something you talk about on Sundays, but something that sustains you when everything else fails. So today, right now, I want to invite you to do something that might feel scary but is so necessary. Stop pretending. Stop saying you're fine when you're not. At least with God, be honest. Tell Him how you really feel. Tell Him about the pain you've been hiding. Tell Him about the tears you've been holding back. Tell Him about the fear, the anger, the disappointment, the exhaustion. Tell Him everything. He can handle it. He's big enough for your biggest pain. He's strong enough to carry what you can't carry anymore. And if you can, find someone safe to be honest with too. A friend who will listen without judgment. A counselor who can help you process what you're going through. A pastor who will pray with you. Someone who won't tell you to just have more faith or to get over it, but who will sit with you in your pain and remind you that you're not alone. We were never meant to carry our burdens by ourselves. We need each other. We need community. We need people who will let us take off the mask and be real. God sees you today. He sees past every, "I'm fine" you've ever said. He sees the real you, the hurting you, the struggling you. And He loves you exactly as you are. You don't have to have it all together for Him. You just have to be willing to let Him in. To stop hiding. To stop pretending. To trust that His love is big enough to hold all of your pain and strong enough to carry you through it. You are seen. You are known. You are loved. And you are not alone, even when it feels like you are. God is with you, and He will never leave you, never forsake you, never turn away from you in your darkest hour. Hold on to that truth today. Let it sink deep into your heart. You don't have to be fine. You just have to be His. And that is enough. There's something about silence that can either heal us or destroy us. And when you're carrying pain that nobody knows about, that silence becomes a prison. You wake up every day and put on your armor. You go to work, you smile at your neighbors, you answer texts, you show up to church, you do all the things you're supposed to do. But inside, there's this screaming silence. This loneliness that cuts deeper than any words could express. And the worst part? You've gotten so good at hiding it that people actually believe you're doing great. But let me tell you what happens when we carry our pain in silence for too long. It doesn't just go away. It grows. It spreads. It starts affecting everything. Your joy feels fake. Your prayers feel empty. Your faith starts to feel like just going through the motions. You begin to wonder if God even hears you anymore because you've been crying out in silence for so long and nothing seems to change. You start to feel invisible, even to Him. I need you to hear this today. Your silence doesn't protect you. It isolates you. And isolation is one of the enemy's greatest weapons. Because when you're alone with your pain, when you're alone with your thoughts, when you're alone in your struggle, that's when the lies sound the loudest. That's when you start believing that nobody cares, that you're too broken to be fixed, that your situation is hopeless, that you're a burden, that you should just keep it together and stop complaining. But those are lies. Every single one of them. And God wants to break through that silence today. He wants to speak truth into the places where lies have been echoing for too long. He wants you to know that your voice matters. Your pain matters. Your story matters. And you don't have to carry this weight in silence anymore. Maybe you grew up in a family where emotions weren't allowed, where crying was seen as weakness, where you learned early on that your feelings were too much, too loud, too inconvenient. So you learned to shut them down. You learned to smile when you wanted to scream. You learned to say, "I'm fine," even when you were dying inside. And now, years later, you don't even know how to be honest about your pain because you've been trained to hide it your whole life. Or maybe you've tried to open up before and it backfired. Maybe you shared your struggle with someone and they minimized it. They told you it wasn't that bad. They told you to just pray more, to have more faith, to look on the bright side. They made you feel like your pain was your fault, like if you were a better Christian or a stronger person, you wouldn't be going through this. So you closed up. You decided it was safer to keep it to yourself. And you've been carrying it alone ever since. If that's you, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that people didn't hold space for your pain. I'm sorry they didn't know how to sit with you in your struggle without trying to fix it or explain it away. I'm sorry you felt like you had to go through this alone. But please, please don't let those experiences keep you from being honest with God. He's not like those people. He won't minimize your pain. He won't tell you to just get over it. He won't make you feel foolish for hurting. God invites you to come to Him weary and heavy laden, and He promises to give you rest. Not because you have to earn it. Not because you have to prove you're struggling enough. But simply because He loves you and He sees how tired you are. He sees how long you've been carrying this. He sees how much strength it's taken just to keep going. And He wants to lighten your load. Here's what I've learned about God in my own journey through pain. He doesn't waste our suffering. He doesn't cause it, but He doesn't waste it either. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, every moment you felt like giving up but somehow found the strength to keep going, God has been writing a story through it all. A story of His faithfulness. A story of His presence. A story that will one day help someone else who's going through what you're going through right now. But you have to let Him into the pain first. You have to stop hiding it from Him. You have to stop pretending you're fine when you're barely surviving. Because God can't write your story of redemption if you won't let Him into the chapters that hurt the most. I know it's scary to be that vulnerable. I know it feels safer to keep everything locked up inside. But here's the truth. That wall you've built to protect yourself from more pain is the same wall that's keeping out the comfort you desperately need. God is standing on the other side, waiting. His arms are open. His heart is ready to receive every broken piece of you. But you have to open the door. You have to let down the wall. You have to risk being seen in your pain. And I promise you, when you do, you'll find that God was never scared of your mess. He was never intimidated by your pain. He was never disgusted by your struggle. He's been there the whole time, gently knocking, patiently waiting, lovingly pursuing you even in your silence. If you're finding comfort in these words, if you're feeling less alone than you did when you started watching this video, I want to ask you to do something. Hit that like button and share this message with someone who might need to hear it. Because somewhere out there, someone else is saying, I'm fine, when they're breaking. And maybe this video finding its way to them could be the moment everything changes. Your simple action could be God's way of reaching someone who's been hiding their pain for far too long. You know what's interesting? Jesus himself experienced this. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he was in such anguish that he sweat drops of blood. And do you know what he did? He asked his disciples to stay with him, to watch and pray with him. Even Jesus, the Son of God, didn't pretend to be fine when he wasn't. He didn't hide his pain. He brought it into community. He was honest about his struggle. And if Jesus didn't have to pretend to be strong all the time, why do you think you do? If Jesus could admit he was overwhelmed and ask for support, why can't you? If Jesus could be vulnerable about his pain, what makes you think you have to hide yours? The truth is, God gave us emotions for a reason. He gave us the ability to feel pain because pain is a signal that something needs attention. When you touch a hot stove, pain tells you to pull your hand away. When your heart is breaking, pain tells you that you need comfort, you need healing, you need help. Ignoring that pain doesn't make you stronger. It makes you numb. And God doesn't want you to live a numb life. He wants you to feel fully so you can heal fully. So let me ask you something today, and I want you to really think about this. What would happen if you stopped pretending? What would happen if you took off the mask, even just for a moment, and let yourself feel what you've been avoiding? What would happen if you told God exactly how you feel? No filter, no trying to make it sound more spiritual, just raw, honest truth. I'll tell you what would happen. You'd finally start to heal. You'd finally feel the weight begin to lift. You'd finally experience the comfort that's been waiting for you all along. You'd finally understand what it means to cast your cares on him because he cares for you. Your pain has been waiting to be acknowledged. Your tears have been waiting to be released. Your heart has been waiting to be honest. And God has been waiting for you to stop saying, I'm fine, and start saying, I need you. Today can be that day. Right now can be that moment. You don't have to wait until you hit rock bottom. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart. You can come to God right now, in the middle of your pain, and let him meet you there. You can whisper, or you can scream, or you can just sit in silence with him and let him hold you. However you come, he's ready. He's been ready. He's always been ready. So stop carrying this alone. Stop pretending you're fine. Stop hiding your pain like it's something to be ashamed of. Bring it to God. Bring it into the light. Let him see it, touch it, heal it. Because that's what he does. He binds up the broken-hearted. He heals the wounded. He comforts those who mourn. But he can only do that if you let him in. You are not too broken for God's love. You are not too messed up for his grace. You are not too far gone for his mercy. You are exactly who he came to save. You are exactly who he wants to heal. You are exactly who he's been waiting for. Let me tell you something that might change everything for you today. God doesn't just see your pain to watch you suffer. He sees it to heal it. He doesn't observe from a distance with pity in his eyes. He steps into your mess with purpose in his heart. Every moment he's been watching you struggle, every time he's seen you say, I'm fine, when you're falling apart, he's been preparing the way for your healing. He's been working behind the scenes, arranging circumstances, softening hearts, opening doors, making a way where there seems to be no way. But healing requires something from you. It requires honesty. It requires surrender. It requires you to finally stop carrying what was never yours to carry in the first place. And I know that's terrifying. Because when you've been strong for so long, when you've been the one everyone else leans on, when you've built your entire identity around being the person who has it all together, admitting you're struggling feels like losing yourself. But what if I told you that losing that false version of yourself is exactly what needs to happen for the real you to finally breathe? What if the person you've been pretending to be has been suffocating the person God created you to be? What if all this time, God has been waiting for you to stop performing and start receiving? You see, somewhere along the way, many of us learned that love is conditional, that acceptance has to be earned, that we have to prove we're worthy of care and attention. So we became performers. We learned our lines. We practiced our smiles. We got really good at showing people what they wanted to see. And now, we're so deep in the performance that we've forgotten what it feels like to just be ourselves, wounds and all. But God never asked you to perform for Him. He never asked you to have it all together. He never said your value was based on how strong you appear or how well you hide your struggles. From the very beginning, His love for you has been unconditional, complete, unwavering. He loved you before you did anything to earn it, and He'll love you even when you feel like you've done everything to lose it. The question isn't whether God sees you. We've established that He does. The question is, will you let Him help you? Will you finally stop running from His comfort? Will you stop pushing away the very thing you need most because you're afraid of being vulnerable? I want to tell you what happens when you finally let God into your pain. When you stop saying, "I'm fine," and start saying, "I'm hurting, and I need you." First, there's relief. A weight begins to lift that you didn't even realize was crushing you. Just the act of being honest, of admitting the truth you've been hiding, brings a freedom you forgot existed. You realize you don't have to pretend anymore. You can breathe. Then comes the healing. And I need you to understand something about God's healing. It's not always instant. It's not always the way you expect. Sometimes it's gradual. Sometimes it's painful before it's peaceful. Sometimes God heals your situation, and sometimes He heals your heart in the middle of your situation. But either way, He heals. He restores. He makes new. Maybe He's healing you by removing toxic people from your life. Maybe He's healing you by teaching you boundaries you never knew you needed. Maybe He's healing you by walking you through grief instead of around it. Maybe He's healing you by showing you that you're stronger than you thought, not because you can carry everything alone, but because you finally learned to let Him carry it with you. And here's the beautiful part. When God heals you, He doesn't just fix what's broken. He redeems it. He takes the very thing that almost destroyed you and turns it into the thing that defines your testimony. He takes your pain and transforms it into purpose. He takes your struggle and turns it into strength, not just for you, but for everyone who will come after you and need to know that survival is possible. Right now, someone watching this video is on the edge of giving up. Someone is thinking that their pain is too much, that their situation is too hopeless, that they've been broken for too long to ever be whole again. And if that's you, I need you to hear this. Your story isn't over. This chapter is hard, I know. This season is dark, I understand. But it's not the end. God is writing something beautiful through your pain, and one day, you're going to look back and see His hand in every moment you thought you were alone. One day, you're going to help someone who's going through exactly what you're going through right now. You're going to be able to say, "I know how you feel," and mean it. You're going to be able to offer comfort that can only come from someone who's walked through the fire and survived. You're going to be living proof that God sees, God cares, and God heals. But you have to hold on. You have to keep going. You have to choose, every single day, to bring your pain to God instead of burying it deeper. You have to choose honesty over hiding. You have to choose vulnerability over the illusion of strength. You have to choose to believe that God's love is bigger than your mess. Before we finish today, I want to ask you one more time. If this message has touched your heart, if you felt seen and understood, if you felt God speaking directly to you through these words, please subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. Not for the algorithm, not for the numbers, but because your action tells God that you're ready. Ready to stop pretending. Ready to be honest. Ready to receive the healing He's been holding out to you all along. And your subscription means this message will reach more people who are hiding their pain behind, I'm fine. I want to pray for you right now, wherever you are. Even if you've never prayed before, even if you've been angry with God, even if you don't know how to find the words. Let me pray for you. God, I pray for every person watching this right now who has been carrying pain in silence. I pray for the ones who have been saying, I'm fine, when their hearts are breaking. I pray for the ones who feel invisible, forgotten, alone. Lord, would you show them today that you see them? Would you remind them that you've been there all along, waiting with open arms? Would you give them the courage to finally be honest about their pain? Would you soften their hearts to receive the comfort they've been pushing away? Break down the walls they've built. Heal the wounds they've been hiding. Give them rest from the exhaustion of pretending. Let them feel your presence in a way they've never felt before. And Lord, start the healing today. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, in this very moment. Touch their hearts. Mend what's broken. Restore what's been lost. Give them hope when everything feels hopeless. Remind them that their story isn't over, that you're still writing, that the best chapters are still to come. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. You are seen today. Fully seen. Completely known. Deeply loved. God knows you're not fine, and He loves you anyway. He's not waiting for you to get yourself together. He's inviting you to fall apart in His presence so He can put you back together the way you were always meant to be. You don't have to be fine. You just have to be honest. And in that honesty, in that vulnerability, in that moment when you finally stop pretending and start surrendering, that's where the miracle happens. That's where healing begins. That's where you discover that God's strength really is made perfect in your weakness. So take off the mask today. Let down your guard. Stop saying, I'm fine, when you're not. God sees you. He's always seen you. And now, He's ready to heal you. All you have to do is let Him in. The pain you've been hiding doesn't make you weak. The tears you've been holding back don't make you less of a believer. The struggle you've been carrying alone doesn't mean you've failed. It just means you're human. And God specializes in meeting humans right where they are, broken and beautiful, hurting and hopeful, barely holding on but somehow still here. You're still here. That matters. Your presence in this world matters. Your pain matters. Your healing matters. And God is not done with you yet. He's just getting started. So hold on. Keep going. Stop pretending. Start healing. And watch what God does when you finally give Him permission to work in the places you've kept hidden for so long. You are loved. You are seen. You are never, ever alone. And it's okay to not be fine. Because God's got you. He's always had you. And He's never letting go.